Hello everybody, James here, Storytime with Dutch Mantell, episode 166. I am sorry in advance, I have to wear my glasses. My printer will not print anything, therefore I need my glasses with the reflection in them to actually read all the questions. Dutch, what are you flashing at me there?
You know what that's the official program for WrestleMania 30. That was a big one, buddy.
Are you in it?
Yeah, I was there. Yep.
No, I mean, are you in the program?
Well, I don't know. I hadn't looked at it in a long time. Yeah, I'm in it.
That's good. Why
Okay.
don't you start a petition to be on the front of it?
What'd you say?
You could have replaced Bray Wyatt or The Undertaker and put you there.
I could have, but Brock Lesnar's on it. Triple H, Undertaker, Orton, Batista, Cena, Hogan, and Wyatt. They were on the front. WrestleMania 30. Now, if anybody is interested in this, I'm going to auction this off.
Are you?
Oh, yeah. So if you want to, I'm gonna put it up.
Are you going to sign all the names? So you signed Triple H's name, Batista's name, The Undertaker's name?
I'll type it and put it right up. But hey, beautiful magazine, well made, and there's no damage done to it at all. Like for all these years. So whoever's interested in a WrestleMania 30 program, an actual program, write to me at Dirty Dutch Mantell at gmail.com, and I'll get back to you.
So that is also the email you use to ask for, request prices for signed memorabilia from Dutch himself, including his books, including WCW trading cards, and including signed diplomas from the University of Dutch as well. And there's also questions for Dutch at gmail.com. That is how you write into this show and submit your questions to... Your camera's moving back and forth at the same time. It's very hard to do this intro while it's zooming. I know, the camera's got...
Hey, wait a minute.
The camera, followed him around at some point, and now it's zooming in, of its own accord.
You know where I got this camera?
I gave it you.
Yes.
I'm not taking the blame for that.
I think you gave it to me for a joke, and it has a mind of its own. If it goes over here. No, he's not following me this morning.
Oh, it'll get there.
Oh, yeah, he will.
So, questions for Dutch at gmail.com is the email you use to submit your questions for the Friday episode, which is now back to Fridays, Tuesdays and Fridays, of Ask Dutch Anything. Right, okay, because...
Okay, let me explain this to me.
Yes.
What plays Friday? This show?
Tuesday. No. What day is it say? Monday. Tuesday, this one comes out, and then the other one's Friday.
Okay, so we come out on Tuesdays.
Yep.
This show.
Yep.
Got it.
So, because once again, I have to have my glasses on to read off the screen here, and we are looking at a bunch of news, as always, this week. First off, I want to talk about tickets, and we're going to do the WrestleMania ticket discount that's happened, which is kind of prescient that you would have WrestleMania program.
Can I say something?
Yes.
TKO, God bless them, but they don't understand, apparently, economics. You cannot make wrestling so expensive that the people can't afford it. If a ticket is $700, I don't know what they get from other people, but when they get from me, well, you can keep it. I'm not going to sit there for 3 hours to pay $200 an hour to sit there and watch it. I don't get it. But do they think it's some kind of just a mystique to go to a WrestleMania or any the PLE?
Yeah, well, Elimination Chamber is coming up in 12 days, and their tickets are about, the cheapest buy-in price is about a third of the price of WrestleMania. But WrestleMania, that is for a 2-night ticket, not one. But it's still a lot cheaper to go Elimination Chamber.
For $700?
Well, it's $738 plus taxes and fees.
For 2 nights?
For 2 nights.
Well, that lessens it a lot.
Still a lot, but here's the thing, is that WrestleMania tickets were selling about 10,000 less per night than they were at the equivalent time last year, which was also in Las Vegas in the same arena, etc. So what they've done now, 2 months out, is drop the price with a temporary 25% off discount. I checked it this morning, so the Twitter account was the Allegiant Stadium Twitter account, which is where they're going to be. And I followed the link to find that tweet, and they've already deleted it. And I'm trying to figure out why.
So they give a special deal on tickets. Put it up. Now you're looking for it, and you can't find it.
Yeah, the only way I could find it is that other wrestling websites had tweeted it, or copied and pasted it and put it in the article. So if I don't think this won't reach anybody in time, but anyway, the code was winter, right? But then why would they delete it before the code ran out? I'm wondering, did enough people buy tickets that they thought, well, that's all we want to sell at this point, and then delete it?
I keep WWE on speed dial. I'm gonna call them right now. Continue talking.
I will do. So there's been some interesting movements within WWE and TKO recently, and apparently there was an internal multi-department meeting a few days ago as to how to sell more tickets to WrestleMania. So there's definitely some panic in the company in TKO.
Hey, I got an idea for them.
Well, make them cheaper?
No, how about putting out something people want to see? That would help. If the people want to see it, the price won't stop them. You remember those old boxing matches and where they would build it for a year, and that was 50 years ago. But they would build it to such a degree that the people were falling over themselves trying to see Madison Square Garden. They were falling over themselves trying to get in that stadium. And of course, the first 3 rows was all celebrities. And the cameras would go around and look at them. But they had some bangers, man. They really did.
Yeah, well, that's kind of half the problem of this one, because we're 2 months out. You tell me this. What do you think? Because it took me a few days to sort of feel this way. That when Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble, it was like, well, it's a big star, it's a good thing. And then about a week later, I was like, but it's the same guys on top every year again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, I've said this about WWE before, but they do keep a lot of those guys way too long. I mean, in the territorial days, if you go and you do a year or a year and a half in a territory, that's a long stay. Now, of course, other guys have stayed longer. They've kind of homesteaded there. But they get tired of seeing the same talent over and over and over again, especially the same talent when they're not in any kind of a storyline or in any kind of an angle. They're just out there wrestling. So, and that's why you got to have the stories. You got to have them involved in something. I don't care what it is. It's got to be something, or otherwise they'll get tired of the talent and just stop coming.
There's only one match, and we don't even know if that match is definitely happening, because it could end up being a triple threat match. Who knows? But it's CM Punk and Roman Reigns, and I made the point in my solo video earlier today as I record this that these two guys have got a combined age of 87. They've been in the same position each for 10 years. Well, CM Punk wasn't wrestling for some of those years, but they've been in the same position for years now, and they don't have any issue going in other than who's the best. And what did Jerry Jarrett always say? Personal issues draw money.
Let's use you as a personal sounding board. When you hear Roman Reigns and CM Punk, they're going to face each other. Do you have any kind of a spontaneous, I want to see that? Or do you say, it's old? People saying the same thing you're saying. And when WWE Creative, when they realized that, And they've been told that, I'm sure. But I don't think they know what else to do. Now, if they're going to do something with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, is Punk a heel?
Nope. Neither's Roman Reigns.
Neither one. So something has to happen in that match to make it at least seem while they were having some kind of a disagreement. So let's see what they do. I love it. I'm not going to knock them yet, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that's one of the better matches they could produce.
I think for me, it just seems so WWE in the sense that it's just so safe. And once again, we have seen it many years ago. They've not wrestled each other in a singles since CM Punk's return. But still, it seems like a safe match that anybody could have thought of.
About a year, I guess it was about a year ago, we were talking, and it may have been longer, we were talking how good the product was. And I enjoyed the product. I haven't seen that in months and months and months. They go on their TV and they're just having a match and having the commentator talk about the match, and nothing seems spontaneous or anything. And that was the beauty. That was the beauty of the old territorial days. You didn't know what was going to happen. Sometimes we didn't even know what was going to happen. Because sometimes we just made it up as we went along.
They'd never let you now. That's the problem. They wouldn't. They would never let you. I mean, I'm sure, like, occasionally it does, but there are other issues as well. And with Unreal, I think it really highlighted it. Is that, a lot of the fan favorites like Chelsea Green and LA Knight and R-Truth, right from the horse's mouth, thanks to their own documentary, that they see nothing in them but mid-card.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, why even bother cheering them now?
Yeah. See, I think shows like that, they get paid for them. I got that. But to go in there and say, well, we don't really see anything in this person or that person. And, I don't see the benefit of even doing that. It's like knocking your own product, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You see, and Chelsea Green, they got a lot of upside with that girl. And who else did they say they didn't like?
Well, R-Truth, they tried to get rid of, and then they didn't due to fan backlash, and now they don't really use him anymore still.
They're not going to. And LA Knight.
I was going to say, with R-Truth, hey, punish me like that. Pay me $500,000 or $1 million to barely use me. I'm more than up for that, but still.
Okay, LA Knight's another one they don't see anything in. But I see more in him, and I see in a lot of these guys, because the people, they respond to him. And all he needs is a little story. I wish I could book him for like 6 months.
You should do. Well, just call WWE up and say, listen, you're not getting it done here.
Oh, hey, they're on the line. Listen to us right now. Oh, hey, Triple A.
With I'm going to give you some reasons that WrestleMania is not doing as well as last year, and you tell me, like, in the order, like, super important, not that important, somewhere in the middle kind of thing. I'm going to give you some. I'm just watching you fiddle with your camera again. I'm going to give you some reasons that WrestleMania is not selling as many. You tell me how important they are to you, as far as you can tell. And the first one is that last year's WrestleMania burned enough people, as far as that horrible finish with Travis Scott, that it's put people off going again.
I don't think that Travis Scott did as much damage as The Rock not being there. Because they could put up with all that crap, everything you give them, if only The Rock had walked out of that dressing room and a place would have exploded. Now, where was he? He was making a movie or something?
No.
He was somewhere.
He was somewhere, but I think he was in Hawaii, but he wasn't like busy enough that he couldn't have nipped in for the day.
Mm-hmm.
How about this one then? Las Vegas is incredibly expensive, and WrestleMania is incredibly expensive, so that's got to be two of the two of the biggest reasons that are turning people off is that it's like everything's 20% more expensive than it was even last year, it seems.
Mm-hmm. What are the hotel rooms?
Oh, I looked it up. It's like for a half decent one, you're looking $600 plus tourist tax and everything.
See, Vegas wasn't built on that. Vegas was built on cheap food and cheap hotel. That's what built it. And Vegas was just an idea. And when World War II ended, they were bringing the troops back in, and when they went through Vegas, they said, "Hey, we need to do something for those troops that are coming." And then they got smarter with it later on, and they would let the troops on their way back to the East Coast, whereas most of them are the center of the country. They had to go through Vegas, and they just started a gambling thing there. And of course, just the mob ruled it. And I think when the mob got out of the business of gambling in Vegas, that's when they put the actual businessmen in there. I think they kind of messed it up.
Well, Las Vegas is definitely killing off its own tourism because they probably down, I don't know, 10, 15, even more % from a couple of years ago, I'm sure. Yeah.
How many people are coming from Europe to Vegas?
Not as many as there once was. I don't have a breakdown of those stats.
That's right.
Yeah, but less people are going than usual. How about this one? Running the same arena 2 years in a row. How much of that do you think hurts, or do you think it's?
I think it hurts a lot.
Even in a tourist town like Vegas, you think it hurts a lot?
Yeah, people have already been there. In Vegas, you go once. Well, you go the second time. It's going to be more of the same. But I think as of right now, with a lesser card. Make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. TKO, obviously we talked last week, they're blacking out all the broadcasts of the PLE locally to try and force people to go, which is also going to turn people off.
Let's put that to the test. I'm sitting there in Vegas. I got a choice. I'm looking at it. $650 for 2 nights, and I can sit here and watch it on TV. But then they cancel out my TV, so guess what? I just go to the casino.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, if they do discounts 2 months out, I think it's going to make also a lot of people think, well, if they're doing a discount now, they're going to be doing more discounts later on, and probably heavier ones.
That's what they think. Do you think they will sell out this year like they didn't sell out last year, did they?
I'm not sure they sold out, but it was close enough.
But what will this year be?
I'm wondering if it will be sort of near enough, but I think they're going to more heavily discount the tickets, like way more heavily discount the tickets, so the gate will be a lot lower.
They may paper it too, just to make it look much more important than what it actually is. To me, WWE at this point, they're making a ton of money, but it's not their product that's making the money. It's all their gimmicks and all their T-shirts and all the merchandise and
the TV rights is the big one.
And the TV rights. So they could actually, if only 5 people show up, they're still going to have it, but it's not going to do them any good. But I think they have been down for about a year, and they're having trouble reinvigorating their talent.
I find it interesting that it was supposed to be in New Orleans this year, and then Vegas offered them a bigger site fee. And I think it was really short-sighted of TKO to accept that. Because if it was in New Orleans, well, that's somewhere new for people to go. They've not been since 10 years, nearly, I guess. Maybe 34, because I know they went in 30, because you had that program up as well at the beginning of the show. But yeah, I just think how short-sighted. Well, you took a bit of money at the beginning, but now you're probably going to sell less tickets overall, maybe. And now less people are going to fly in from internationally as well, because as you say, if you've been to Vegas once, you want to go somewhere different the next year.
Okay, how long do they book, say, a Wrestle or any of the big pay-per-views? How far out do they book these pay-per-views?
Probably WrestleMania, months and months.
Just the building.
Over a year. They generally announce where WrestleMania will be a year in advance, sometimes more. But then in Vegas's case this year, it was way after. It was way after WrestleMania 41 because they were still negotiating with New Orleans to get WrestleMania out of there after they'd already agreed.
So where is WrestleMania next year? Do you know?
Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now, that'd be a great deal.
For who? Them. But that's it.
Well, yeah, for them. Do they charge for the Saudi Arabia shows?
Very little in comparison. The tickets are very cheap.
But the government pays like $50 million.
No, more for WrestleMania. So the Royal Rumble that just happened and then WrestleMania next year, I think they're getting 300 million or 350. They're bought and paid for shows. But they're paying so over the odds that no one can compete. But yeah, like they couldn't even sell out the Royal Rumble. And that was like 25,000 seats. So next year at Saudi Arabia, WrestleMania, if they book a bigger venue, I will be surprised if they did sell out all those seats. Because the Royal Rumble is the second biggest major event, and they couldn't do it with cheap tickets. Are you going? No, God no.
You wouldn't go to Saudi Arabia?
Nope.
Why? You're afraid to go?
Yeah.
I am too.
Well, I think most people don't want to go for a variety of reasons. So
anyway, yeah. I've read a lot about Saudi Arabia and how the government works, and the people don't have to work, do they?
I figure most of them do. But the thing is, I don't think WWE is even very popular in Saudi Arabia. Once again, they couldn't even fill out the Royal Rumble with cheap tickets. So, once again, it's all just an exercise in sports washing. So,
what if they ran, let me just throw this at you and everybody else out there. Do they have independent shows running in Saudi Arabia?
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd figure probably not.
Let's go over there and we'll book this high school gym. We'll advertise it on the radio and just have a big show and charge ridiculous prices. Like ringside, $100. Second row, $50.
Yeah,
hey, it could work. Who knows?
Yeah, if you could bring like Jimmy Valiant or Lawler or just like the oldest wrestlers possible. So like you have to be at least 75 to enter, like Ric Flair headlines.
Hey, you could put Ric Flair versus Ricky Morton.
That's coming up later, I should say, as well. We'll get to that soon. We also, speaking of tickets, we also have to get involved with AEW's Ticket Woes. AEW Grand Slam. So this is just really a glorified AEW Collision show, really. But it's in Australia. So they did 7,000 people in Sydney, which on the face of it isn't too bad, actually. But they did almost half of what Brisbane Grand Slam the year before did, which was around 13,000. AEW did a horrible job promoting the show, an absolutely terrible job. And until like the last week or so. And then loads of reports from locals have said that they had no idea the show was even happening.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I'm not saying. I'm going to say it now. Don't they know they have to advertise the show? Who's in charge of that?
Well, Tony Khan's the promoter, but he also wants to be the booker. Dutch, how many promoters / owners / bookers who do all of those things actually succeeded? Because even Vince McMahon couldn't book at the same time as promoting. I'm trying to think, Bill Watts wasn't his own booker. He gave that to somebody else.
No.
Jerry Jarrett.
He has been his own booker, but he didn't set the shows up. He didn't promote the shows. He didn't schedule them down. They would give it to him, and he'd write it down. He was just booking what he was given. So if the key to working and booking a smaller territory is you have a main town, say in Memphis. You'd book Memphis, and then we were a week late on all the other towns, and we just take the Memphis card and put it on the other towns. Maybe only one match would change. But if Memphis did a sellout, Louisville would sell out. Mm-hmm. Evansville would sell out. Nashville would sell out. Of course, much smaller buildings, but still, you could almost figure out how much money you were going to make before the week was over.
What if at the Mid-South Coliseum you had to give away tickets to get people in?
Did we have to give away tickets?
No, I mean, so what would happen if you had to give away tickets? Did you ever pay for the crowd in Memphis in the worst days?
Well, I've seen some of that building empty too. If you don't do the right thing and get the fans behind it, well, you're gonna have a sucky house. Nobody out there.
Well, that's kind of what happened. So the Sydney crowd wasn't good, 7,000. On the face of it is, but you're going all the way to Australia, flying everybody out there, and they were barely promoting it until about a week out, and I think they sold an extra couple of thousand tickets in the last week. But they had a stacked card as well, and they just... And they did markedly worse than the year before, where they also promoted the Brisbane Grand Slam really poorly. And they still got 13,000. And keep in mind that Sydney has twice the population of Brisbane as well. But it's not the Sydney one that's so terrible. It's the Brisbane show, the house show, that they did after Sydney. So that's yesterday as we record this. They did such a terrible job of promoting it that 2 weeks out, like 70-75% of the floor seats, including ringside, were still unsold. A week before, there was half the seats still available on the floor. And then a day before or so that this show in Brisbane was going to happen, they just changed the price on the ticket website to free. Every single ticket in every single area was free. And then they didn't even advertise that. So not even that many people snapped up the free tickets.
Who was the first American promoter that went down and put Australian wrestling on the map?
Barnett.
Jim Barnett. He went down there, and if you don't know who Jim Barnett is, I advise just looking him up. A very nice guy. I always got along with him. He always liked me. Seemed to, but he went to Australia, and I don't know how long he was down there.
Oh, like a decade or something. That was the original World Championship Wrestling.
He did nothing but money, and he would bring Abdullah in, and he'd bring all the big stars in, and he'd bring in can't remember the guys. Mark Lewin in, and who was that big Hawaiian guy?
Oh, Prince Iakea. No, King Curtis Iakea, sorry.
King Curtis. So when you went to a show, it was wild. And that's what they got used to. And I think he spent about 10 years down there. And all of a sudden, somebody wanted to buy him out. And he said, yeah, I want to go back to the States anyway. And that's when he went back and took over WCW in Atlanta.
Do you know what Jim Barnett probably didn't do? Is probably put on a show and then dust his hands off and go, right, well, that's my job done. If people turn up, it was meant to be. But they didn't mention, it was the same building as last year. They got 13,000 fans in, right? And this time, they probably got more like 1,500, maybe 2,000.
1,500?
That's it. It's like nearly a tenth of what they did just a year ago because they promoted it so badly. Had full of big names on it as well. They just didn't promote it.
Well, you got to tell people. You got to tell people it's there. I would think anybody would know that. If you went to a town with 2,000 people, wouldn't you at least try to have those 2,000 people know that there was an event in their city coming up? Well, I would.
Well, you can't even do it on TV because AEW's TV has been taken off of the air in Australia.
What's happened to radio?
No, I'm talking about like Dynamite and Collision no longer air in Australia.
Then why is he running?
Good question. Why is he running Australia when he doesn't even have TV? And then why wouldn't... I'm presuming AEW does not have a marketing department. They can't have. Or they're like... I was going to say something. They're a pack of morons, is what I'm going to say. Is because they barely did social media. They barely did anything.
What did you call them?
There must not be a social media crew. Not social media crew. A marketing department in AEW. Because they apparently don't exist, or they don't earn their money, because there was like nothing, like no posters, no banners, no nothing, no advertising on social media, barely. Like through Instagram or Facebook.
Can you imagine being an AEW talent and the year before they sold out? What's this building that went down to 1,500 people? What's the name of the town?
It's Brisbane. It's not a town. It's a big city. It's 2.5 million people.
Well, the event, the location.
They couldn't.
Last year you were there. It's sold out. You go out this time. You could have shot a shotgun off in that place and not hit anybody.
You should see the photos. Do you know what? Like, if you were a wrestler and you had to fly halfway across the world, for a major promotion, and they're doing worse than TNA, it's like you've got to be thinking like this is disgrace. It's like they're not doing you justice, and it makes everybody look bad just because they didn't want to promote it properly.
Everybody. Well, first of all, they don't have TV, right? In Brisbane?
In Australia. Not anymore.
They just don't have it. So I don't know what the purpose of running is. Do you?
No.
So anyway, but if they're if they're running with that as their main course of action, I think a first-year student of marketing could tell you that.
They also chose this non-televised house show event with barely anybody there to debut a new tag team.
Who was it?
The Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billy Kay. They were with WWE for years, then they went to TNA for a bit. Now they're just with AEW.
I don't remember them.
People don't really. They weren't
that big of a deal. Is that a women's tag team? Or?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So anyway, they announced they were all elite. In a mostly
empty
empty building.
Hey, what happened in WWE? Answer me this. I can't remember their names, but they're a tag team, and I haven't seen them in forever. They started out, and they were from England.
You're not talking Pretty Deadly?
Yes. What happened to them?
Well, Elton Prince is really badly injured, and the other guy is... just doing a solo run.
Mm-hmm. What happened to the guy that got injured?
He's still injured. Like, he broke his neck.
He broke his neck?
Yeah. Didn't we watch this a couple of weeks ago?
Maybe.
I know I think we talked about it, but...
He broke his neck.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing about wrestling. A lot of people watch it and say, I'd like to do that. Yeah, you like to do it till you get hurt the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden your fondness for professional wrestling might just fade out on you, just like that.
Next, we have to talk about Brody King. Right, and it's not so much Brody King, this is just Dave Meltzer, once again. So, a couple of weeks ago...
Hey, Dave Meltzer's my good friend, so watch it.
Don't you lie. Don't you lie like Meltzer. So... A couple of weeks ago on AEW Dynamite, it's Brody King versus MJF, and then the crowd starts breaking out into a chant of F Ice, right? So, Brody King has been wearing like anti-ice shirts, I think maybe once in AEW, and he's worn them in Mexico and stuff. Anyway, Dave Meltzer then later claimed that Brody King was then pulled from the subsequent AEW Dynamite show. Not because Tony Khan or AEW pulled him, but due to influences above him at Warner Brothers Discovery. So I'm going to quote to you here, so there's no mistaking anything. This is what Dave Meltzer said. Not speculation. He is saying this is what happened. The deal is that they didn't want the fans in the arena to be chanting that. If Brody came out, there was that risk. When he comes back, it will happen again. I don't know how they're going to handle it. This is again not a Tony Khan call. This is from above. You know what it is. Nobody wants to get on Trump's bad side. If it wasn't for that, nobody would care. It's just a chant. But unfortunately, they've got a company that they're trying to sell and get regulatory approval from a guy who is going to take stuff personally. That's just how it is. No Brody King on the show, when he absolutely, of course, should have had a segment on the show. And he says other things as well in the body of that quote, where he says, this definitely happened. Anyway, this was complete crap because he didn't know that at all. Other people later in the day confirmed and got a quote from Warner Brothers Discovery saying, Warner Brothers Discovery did not have any involvement in Brody King's upcoming AEW schedule. Any speculation to the contrary is categorically false. So Dave Meltzer made something up, would you believe?
I think it had something to do with it.
Do you think?
Don't you?
Well,
I've often said, do not. You got to be very careful when you involve politics in any kind of entertainment form. Because half the people are not going to agree with you. And they're not putting it on one guy, they're putting it on the promotion. So I would leave that alone. And I don't know.
Well, the point is that he was saying that Dave Meltzer was saying that Brody King was being kept off of television. He's already been announced. He's returning not on Wednesday, but next Wednesday. So what Meltzer was basically saying was, and I genuinely think that Warner Brothers Discovery would not have been happy with that chant because, one, it's got swearing in that they didn't bleep, and two, a CNN article recently came out trying to pit AEW as the left wrestling promotion and WWE as the right promotion, which even though Triple H has got and Linda have got ties to Donald Trump, they don't really espouse that on their television, and they're trying to keep it as neutral as possible for the most part, which is smart.
It is. I mean, there's two things you don't talk about: religion and politics. I've heard that all my life. Because if you do it, one of your close friends is not going to like it. And then he may start having not that much to do with you anymore, or you may even cease to be friends. So just let it go. You can, if you can civilly discuss something, go ahead and do it. But usually it's not like this. I mean, some of these protesters they have, I think they just loaded up on some kind of a drug and it drove them nuts.
Meltzer then tried to weasel way out of it by tweeting out the following. We had heard over the weekend that there were concerns about how much publicity the situation had gotten from the WBD side, but those at AEW said that they were not told to not put him on the show. And Tony Khan himself also came out and said, WBD did not tell me to pull Brody King off the show. So I think the point is that Dave Meltzer assumed something and then just hoped he was right, and then pronounced it as immutable truth once again.
What do you think happened?
I think if you're using common sense, people would be unhappy, but then once again, I wouldn't be saying this categorically happened because you don't know, and he did no follow-up to make sure one way or another, because he could just call Tony Khan and say, hey, was Brody King pulled because of you or because of WBD? And according to Tony, he said, no, they just weren't on the show that week, and they'll be back next week.
Which could be true.
They've already announced it. He's coming next week.
So he's going to be on the show next week.
Yeah. Here's a question for you.
What?
Here's a question for you. What if they can't get the fans to stop chanting? Then what do you do with Brody King?
Well, you're going to have to do... You're going to have to give everybody headpieces or blink or somehow to get it off the commentary, off the audio. I don't know if they can do that. I mean, that would ruin the whole match.
Yeah.
But now, if it's caught on like that, and it's caught on because of current events in Minnesota, well, it's going to be hard to get rid of it. I wouldn't, you know what I think they might do? They might bring Brody King to Minnesota and just have him do an appearance and lead a big crowd of people. He could get them there.
They definitely could. If this happened for you, would you just stop booking him?
Well, I'd certainly let some. Well, ICE is they're out of Minnesota now, so I just let some time go and let it go by. You know, you give it a. If you put him on TV next week and the ICE chants continue to go in, that's working against you. He's not going to do anything with ICE at all, and it's actually turning him babyface. He's still a heel, right?
Brody King. No, I think he's a babyface now.
He's a what, babyface?
Yeah.
Well, that's the only thing he can do. But we'll see how they handle it.
I'll be interested as well. Right, next up, once again, it's a Dave Meltzer thing. Powerhouse Hobbs. So he went to WWE. They ended up giving a terrible name called Royce Keys, which I don't care how he came about with the name. It's not as good as Powerhouse Hobbs. Right, so this is once again Dave Meltzer. He noted that he was not, in fact, 35 as Wikipedia or whatever else was known. He is, in fact, 41 years old. Records show that nobody named William Hobson, his real name, was born in California in 91, but there was one born in 1985. As of this writing, this is from a website that I copied and pasted from. Other websites have adjusted his birthday to 85. I thought, isn't it funny how Will Hobbs has been with AEW for 6 years and nary a mention of his real age, but then the second he jumps to WWE, Dave Meltzer's trying to run a smear campaign on him and revealing his real age.
Well, that's what he did years and years and years ago. If he didn't have anything good to say, he'd make up a smear or to associate you with and kind of treat you in that rag of a publication he has. He would just drag you through the whole what's it called, the Wrestling Observer. He'd just drag you all the way through it. I think what Meltzer is he just wants the hot stories or something to be, and I think he actually works on getting people mad at him. He said, boy, if I say this, they'll act like that. And he's not wrong because they do get hot at him. Let me ask you this. How many does he say he has subscriptions for?
Doesn't say.
He used to say.
Not anymore. Not in a long time.
No. And what is the price of it?
$14.99 a month.
A month? Well, at least he didn't overprice himself.
Didn't he?
I said, I'm glad he didn't overprice himself.
Huh?
So what is that, $4 a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It might be worth $4 a week. But it's like, you know, you don't know if it's true or not, but he has his loyal followers and they're gonna be with him no matter what.
I just figured that this was released to try and hurt him in some way, or like hurt his chances of getting signed or something, or like being taken as seriously, because I mean, surely WWE would know his age. They would be taking his social security number, surely. They could figure that out.
Well, I don't think age means anything to WWE anymore. Yes or no?
It's funny because Punk is 47, he's the world champion, yet they kept saying that LA Knight was too old, and he's like 5 years younger.
I don't understand their psychology on that or their reasoning on that. So what do you say? What say you?
I just figured that story just, you know, happened to come out at the exact time that Powerhouse Hobbs left, and I think if I were to guess, or I were to write a fictional story here, I would figure that somebody was pissed off that they left Powerhouse Hobbs on television as a champion up until the minute his contract expired. and this may have been some sort of way to sort of discredit him or whatever else it might be, or hurt his chances in WWE. Well, he's 35, he's in the prime of his life. Whoa, he's 41. My goodness me, we haven't got many years left with him. But you know what I mean? I think it's true.
I think he'll do fine. I really do. Big guy. How much he weigh?
Oh, about I don't know, 270 something. Yeah.
Yep. Well, he'll do fine.
Next question. Next story. Bron Breakker injured. Is he going to make it to WrestleMania? So Bron Breakker is sidelined after emergency hernia surgery. Now, we talked about this last week, I remember, and you said you worked with a hernia for years, but the initial...
There's different types of hernias.
I was going to say exactly that, because there's the kind of ones that you can get back involved in 6 to 8 weeks doing fairly heavy work. And then there's some serious hernias that could see him maybe not even get into WrestleMania now because of it.
Yep. According to what...
Severity,
I don't know that much about it, but I do know the doctor told me. He said there's different types of hernias. Some hernias that may need to be repaired are not too bad. But he said the other ones are really, really tough. So if he has one that's not as bad, when is WrestleMania?
April. 2 months.
Yeah, that's 8 weeks. I think he'd be ready to go. If it's not a super bad tear,
well,
I think he'll be okay.
So that sort of leaves open a lot of options with WrestleMania, of course. And one of them is who Brock Lesnar is going to be facing. And one of the names that's come up... So originally... I mean, it's why the card for WrestleMania isn't set in stone at all as well. Everything's up in the air because there are injuries happening. So many creative changes and personnel changes are happening. Just nobody's got an idea what they're up to, it seems, at this point. Least of all the fans. We don't quite know where it's going. But what do you think? Who do you think Brock Lesnar is going to wrestle? Because I don't know if it was ever going to be Bron Breakker, but there was a suggestion it could be Gunther for months, because that was going to be the match 2 years earlier before Brock got basically suspended, sent home. Then there was an idea that it could be Obafemi, because they had that big face-off in the Royal Rumble. But now, the last few days, there's been rumours going around that it could be LA Knight versus Brock Lesnar. How does that grab you as a match?
That doesn't grab me at all.
Oh, why not?
Well, what are they going to do in it?
I don't know. Wrestle around a bit.
Yeah, lock up and do some stuff. Yeah, and run around the ring. I would think that Gunther and Brock Lesnar would be a great match. They haven't had a match yet, have they?
No, they haven't, no. As I say, that was meant to be the match 2 years ago, and then Brock Lesnar got suspended and they had to do something else with Gunther. Well,
I would go back to that. And all they got to do is, Brock come out and say something about him. He says, you beat this guy and this guy and this guy, but you won't beat me. I'm going to stop you. You're the legend slayer. I see you slay me. I would actually pay to kind of see how they do that match.
Would you pay $800?
No. I'd have to know the finish, though, before I went in.
Why?
Hey, when I buy the ticket at the window, I say, what's the finish? They go, shh. He's going over. See? Then I know the finish.
Okay, so why does LA Knight not grab you then as an opponent?
I think his background is nowhere close to what LA Knight's is. Because he was legitimately a collegiate wrestler, legitimately a shooter. So, and they could possibly do something like that, but I don't know what they would do for the finish.
You'd hope, because the idea is, or the thinking is, that Brock may be retiring this year. So you would hope that LA Knight, if it was LA Knight, or if it was Gunther, whoever it is, that you'd hope that they'd win over Brock. Because
Brock's got to return some favors now. They have put him on that pedestal, and I don't think he has a problem with it. They put him on this pedestal for what, 10, 12, 15 years? And I think when they want him to get with these other guys over. Gunther, that I would say, because he would go out there and they would work a match. And Gunther, even though, Brock, even though he should lose, and he will lose, I think they both come out there looking good. And I say Gunther could beat him. And let me ask you this. Has Gunther had any return matches on the guys he beat? Who did he just beat, AJ?
Yeah, well, he's gone. He's retired. John Cena's gone. Goldberg's gone. I mean, it seems that they all retire after he beats them anyway, so there's never going to be a return match.
Well, but what about if Brock wanted a return match?
Have Gunther win again. Be good if just like Gunther was the guy he just couldn't beat.
That's what you got to do then. Because they have gone so far with Gunther, the people legitimately think he's one badass son of a gun. So if he can go, and how tall is Gunther? 6'4"?
Yeah.
Big guy. Did you see him when he first started? A picture of him?
He was a massive humanity, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a little roly-poly. He was close to 300 pounds, right?
Oh, he's got to be over at that height, definitely.
But yeah, that is a good matchup for WrestleMania. I hope they save it. And now we're going back to LA Knight. What are we going to do with him?
Well, he's going through the vision at the moment. So who would it be against? Would it just be some like useless tag match with? I mean, it could be Logan Paul. That would be okay.
That would actually be a good match.
WWE's old headquarters has been broken into and filmed. Did I send you this or not?
You sent me this, and I got to looking at it, and I went, what the hell is this? And they didn't cover up their faces or anything, did they?
Yeah, no, they were wearing masks. Some of them weren't wearing gloves, masks. Though.
They what now?
Some of them weren't wearing gloves.
Oh, so why did they go in there? Just because they could?
Oh yeah, there's a big like underground thing of like breaking into like long abandoned properties, like the same as here. Like, there's an old like abandoned hospital like not too far from here that like people constantly break into. They even do like filming and stuff in there for whatever it might be for their own socials or whatnot. So yeah, it's kind of like this weird kind of cottage industry of like finding abandoned places and filming them.
Yeah, when you sent me that tape, I'm watching it, and maybe I didn't read it carefully enough, and I went, "What the hell is this?" And then I looked around, a bunch of wrestling stuff, and all these guys running around in there. How long does the tape go?
Oh, like a couple of minutes. It's like a TikTok reel, so it's not very long.
Well, I would get the FBI on it. That's what I would do.
Why?
Because I want to find out who did that.
Why?
So,
I quite like it. I like that they revealed
I do too. That's what I'm saying. WWE could find, and then all of a sudden go to prosecute these guys, and then find out they love wrestling, and then book a match with them. And who knows? This is not a work too.
Yeah, probably one of them was Austin Theory because he was the masked man before, so why not?
That's not a bad angle.
Do you know what's fun? There was a few like little Easter eggs. Like one of them, they had a giant picture or not a mural, but just like a giant image on like one of the walls, and it still had the WWF logo on it. It was great. The gym is still like pretty much completely intact. And it's like, did they abandon this building like during an air raid or something? It's like they just seem to like we have to leave this second.
Are we gonna see that tape?
I can show it. I'll find it. 1 second. Okay, I'm going to mute this because I don't even... probably some music in it as well. There's the WWF logo. Sorry for the audio people. They're in the gym now. But look at that. Look at that. They still got all the weights and stacks and bars on everything.
Nothing's moved. And it still looks good.
I don't know what that is.
Wow.
It's got punch bags and stuff. Locker room? Maybe not.
There's your mask guys.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody had their real face in this, right?
No. Trying to think of the only other place, because they see some blueprints. That was one of the desks. I was thinking, like, the blueprints, they're probably trying to figure out Johnny Laurinaitis' secret, like, hidden sex dungeon is Epstein's style thing going on.
That is interesting. It really is.
But yeah, still got the office chairs and whatnot in. Little
That's the eating areas. Yeah. That's a big. What is that? Is that Kane?
Yeah, that's like a magazine from like 2002 or 2003.
Wow.
There you go.
You got some gems in there. If people wanted to be a collector, there's a lot of stuff in there. But I'm sure that now it's all fixed, and I don't think you can get in that building. No. Why didn't they have a guard there? They didn't expect anybody to try to break in, or?
Well, I think they're trying to sell that place. I don't know if they've sold it yet or they were just renting it, but I think they were selling that building. So I don't even know what they've got.
And it's a big building too.
Yeah.
That's a huge building.
Right. Next. This is the thing that you are more interested in than anything else. John Laurinaitis, former WWE official. John Laurinaitis, would you believe, Dutch, is set to make his first public appearance since the Janelle Grant trafficking lawsuit, of which he's very much in, and artistry of flip-flopping in civil suits. First off, he was with Vince McMahon, then he aligned with Janelle Grant, and then he wasn't again, and now he's back with Vince, and etc. We all know the story about that, so we don't need to go further on. Anyway, this is going to be his first public appearance. It's for a convention. A convention.
His first?
His first since all these accusations came out.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
So, here's the quote.
I, Mr. John Laurinaitis, former Executive Vice President of Talent Relations and former GM of both Raw and SmackDown, will be there to do his first ever signing. I suggest that everybody watching be there. Otherwise, I may have to wish you the best in all your future endeavors. People power.
He doesn't mention about having to, all the other things that he may do to you.
All right, let's visualize into the future. When is this appearance?
Next month, I believe.
Okay. Do you think he will be badly received, well received, or just in the middle?
He will be horribly received because the same people... It's actually Bobby Fulton who's running this. So Bobby Fulton actually tried to book John Laurinaitis back in 2023. This is after he was fired. He was implicated in, all the non-disclosure agreement stuff, but before the Janelle Grant stuff came out. They actually tried to book him in 2023, and then he cancelled his appearance like a day afterwards, citing the negative feedback, quote, saying, "Yesterday we announced John Laurinaitis would be doing an appearance. Upon announcement, we have received only negative feedback. After much consideration, we have decided to not work with him. We apologise for those that were offended by us working with him." Now, for whatever reason, they've gone back and booked him again, 3 years after the fact, and with more accusations levelled against him this time.
I don't understand that. I don't know. Maybe the Elf Ice people will be there too. So they know his background. But, the thing about wrestling, to sell any kind of a picture or an autograph, I think the people should hold you in a higher regard than they hold John Laurinaitis at this point. And I think it's horribly received. And I'm kind of interested in if he sells, how much merchandise he can sell. And what are people going to come up to him and say?
Hey, it's like, how's all that raping going on for you, and being, and getting divorced for being a terrible husband and all that kind of thing.
How was that dump in your face?
That was Vince McMahon, allegedly, by the way, not John Laurinaitis, but he's part of allegedly he has been accused of being part of a sex trafficking ring, and yet he's trying to
Vince?
be Vince and Johnny. Because he was part of it.
Now, do you believe that?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I mean, Janelle Grant's actually doing her first public appearance in 3 days at the same convention. Would you? No, I'm kidding. It's not at the same convention. No, she's going to be doing a talk on non-disclosure agreements in a few days, so I'll be watching that. But yeah, like, what are you going to say to Johnny?
What is Janelle Grant doing?
She's doing a talk on non-disclosure agreements and abuse of power and that kind of thing.
Oh, a legal talk.
Yeah, basically.
I don't know.
So
I wish Laurinaitis be there so he could counter question her.
Yeah, you've done the Bobby Fulton conventions. Has he had any unusual guests over the years?
I've never done his convention. I've done some of his shows.
Oh, how were they?
Well, they were good. Bobby, I've known Bobby, forever. And he was just a kid out of Ohio who loved wrestling. And I think he kind of trained himself. Chillicothe, Ohio is his hometown. And I made a show there one time. I made 2 shows there one time, my first and last. I'm not making it again because, boy, it was a long, long way from where I had to come from. Oh, my, I thought I would never get there. And he broke in with the old Chic promotion out of Detroit. And, that was a territory who ran for years and years and years. And they never really did any big business. Maybe early on in the promotion, they did a lot, but the Detroit territory was one of the territories you kind of stayed away from. So did you ever see, it was Ernie Ladd versus Ox Baker when they had the riot in the town?
Yeah, we watched it on this show once, in fact. Yep.
And that's the way they start. Here they come. Here comes one. Here comes another one. Now there's safety in numbers. And all of a sudden, I had to laugh. Ox was trying to run. Ox can't even walk fast, really. And they almost got him.
Do you think there's going to be a riot situation when John Laurinaitis turns up to this convention? Do you think he's even going to turn up, or do you think they're just going to cancel it again?
Well, I think he needs to go, to tell you the truth. Now, he said he's not guilty, right?
Yeah.
So if he doesn't go, that's almost saying, well, I'm not guilty. But I would hate to be accused of stuff like that. People that you don't even know, the strangers coming up and asking you, and some of them they'll come up and just ask him how much truth is in that. And he's going to say, well, and if he engages them, now they got him talking, and now he's going to draw a crowd. So, hell, they could have a riot. I don't know.
Next one. Mike Jackson is still wrestling at 76 years old. I sent you the video. He was on TNA's No Surrender pay-per-view, I guess, this past weekend. And he was wrestling at the age of 76. How do you think he was moving for his age?
Oh, great. Really great. But Mike has never been big. I bet Mike don't weigh now 160 pounds. So he's not having all that weight pull him down. Plus, I guess he stayed in shape and he moves well. More power to him. Now, he was a guy who got himself, and I don't know what else he did other than wrestle. I don't know. He used to run shows. He did okay with them. And look him up, see what his life's work was. Wasn't wrestling.
No, one sec.
Yep.
I've Googled. I can't find anything on him at all. It just says that he was semi-retirement back in the early 90s. And yet just continues to wrestle, so that's pretty much
I'll tell you what, he doesn't act and move like he's 76.
Do you think it's just easier to stay in wrestle if you just continually wrestle? Like, I was thinking about this with Ricky Morton. It's like he still moves pretty darn well, and he's nearly 70. Mm-hmm. It's like if you just stay wrestling, even if it's part-time, is it actually good for you?
I don't know. it probably keeps you at least taking care of your body. And I don't think Mike Jackson's has ever been hurt. I don't think Ricky Morton has ever been hurt, really. He's never had any shoulder problems, knee problems, or any of that. Not that I know of. But yeah, he does. He does move very well, very fluid. And when he goes to the ring, people know him now. Well, they should have known him. He's only had 50 years for him to figure him out. But yeah, I think he does well. And he may go after the record. What is the record of the oldest wrestler? 83?
Oh, God, it's something like that. It's well into the 80s.
That's too much.
Where does Mike Jackson rank as far as like enhancement talent that you've worked with over the years, as far as how good they were?
Oh, he was good. No, he was, people just to put you out there to enhance you. He was an enhancement talent. Yeah, he was good. See, those matches only go, say, a guy the size of Mike, he's in there with a big 250-pound guy. He outweighs him by 100 pounds. Mike Jackson, in reality, wouldn't be able to go 3 minutes with him. So the guy goes out there and Mike knows this is his job, and he just beats him in 3 minutes and gets up and walks away. But Mike was doing TBS back in the early days, which is the old what's the name of that station?
WTBS.
Yeah, that was back when it was on like Union Avenue or whatever avenue they were on, Peachtree.
I'm just looking at his first match if I can find it. See, of all times, I'm trying to tease this up, and then the internet decides not to go fast at all. For goodness' sake, one sec. Right, okay. So he was working for Goulas then.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was working for Goulas. So that's pretty much where he broke in, I guess.
That's where I met him.
Is he really? I thought you would have met him in like
Birmingham.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, he was a local guy, Alabama guy. He was a local guy. And I met him. Boy, he's a talker too. So I'm sitting in there, and hell, I sit in the dressing room with him. Hell, I thought, listening to him, I thought he owned part of it. So, but he went out there. He did good. Nick liked him. So, and so here we are at 76 years old, and he's still in the ring as an active competitor. Unbelievable.
Next one, Bruce Prichard versus Abyss. So you remember that from Unreal, and
yep,
yeah, and just Bruce Prichard staring daggers at Abyss, despite the fact that it wasn't his fault that CM Punk and Seth Rollins weren't hurrying up and getting to the next thing. Okay, so Bruce Prichard noted how great a person Chris Park is. Abyss was behind the scenes and praised his dedication to his work backstage, but clarified that everything needs to be precise, especially with on Raw, where they've got no time limit anyway with the shows. But especially with how much time they have left in matches. Then Prichard revealed he hasn't fully watched WWE Unreal, but admitted he saw that particular moment with Abyss and thought it was hilarious. So he says, I haven't sat down and just watched it. I did watch that particular scene, and I thought it was hilarious, thought it was great. But you know, Chris is Chris, and Chris is awesome. So anybody that takes that for being a bully or anything else, you've never worked in live television, and you've never worked in real life. If everything has to be sugar-coated for you, I feel really, really sorry for you, because life's tough, and in order to make it sometimes, man, you've got to be able to take it or get out. If you can't take it in the kitchen, get the hell out of the kitchen, and Chris can take it. And he does...
He said that wrong.
Yeah, I know. I'm quoting how he says it.
Yeah.
He does his job. He does a damn good job at it. He then responded to people who are behind William Regal's actions and informed them that that's just what he does as a wrestling savant. Well, William Regal afterwards telling him he's loved and he's wonderful and you did excellent, all that stuff. Everybody loves Regal. He sent Bruce in his place, etc. Whatever, he should talk about how great William Regal is. So, okay then. Bruce's response here is that if everything has to be sugar-coated for you, I feel really, really sorry for you. But do you know what? Is also what Bruce Prichard was doing was staring at him like, he'd shit the bed. and
Yeah,
making him real and coverable. It's like, no. If any normal company, you'd be straight to human resources.
Yeah, that's right. But that's Bruce. And hey, if Abyss or anybody in WWE said this is going to go to human resources, brother, they'd have it in for them.
Oh, yeah.
Right away, and they would get rid of him.
So is that just Bruce being Bruce? Does he mean any malice with what he's doing, or is he just potentially being annoying?
That is called he's ribbing Abyss, but it's a long, drawn-out rib. Like if he's sitting there with his arms closed, and maybe you may not even know anybody, but they're sitting up against the wall, and they're just looking at you like that. You see, what the hell is wrong with that guy? So with Bruce over there, who outranks Abyss, I don't know if he's his boss or not, that would worry Abyss. And Abyss, his favorite deal, he used to tell me all the time in Puerto Rico, he'd say, just down the clear blue, are you mad at me? I went, hell, I just sat down. How do you get that I'm mad about you? I don't know. I'm okay, right? I'm okay. You'd have to damn soothe him down every time you met him. He would think somebody is mad at him. And he's always been that way.
Ah, dear. And Bruce has always been like that, I presume, as well.
Well, he found somebody that responds to him. Now, I don't know how much of the other talent does that to Abyss. I guarantee you somebody could walk up to Abyss and say, look around and go, did you hear? Hear what, man? Hear what? Oh, you didn't hear? You will. That's all you got to do. And he's running around and trying to find out what's going on, and people look at him and say, what the? But the guy's just talking to him. So, but that's the wrestling business.
Next one. I didn't do anything on this, and we're not going to do much on it. The Wrestling Observer Awards, because it's kind of a waste of time. Because pretty much everybody in AEW won all the awards as per usual, because the Observer subscription is overwhelmingly pro AEW and specifically caters to a pro AEW audience. So what's the point in doing awards for all the promotions when there's that much of a slant on it? But of course, Tony Khan won Booker of the Year again. Adam Page won Best Promo. And it's like, what? But there you go. Anyway, Brian Alvarez, also of the Wrestling Observer family, he went on the live show and said, this is the worst I've seen out of the Observer Awards, and it's not even close. He took umbrage with a few winners. Worst match of the year, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes from WrestleMania 41. 328 people voted, and he said that they need their voting privileges revoked for naming that the worst match of the year. What is the worst match of the year? Because they suggest something.
Well, it has to do something with Travis Scott if he's involved in anything. They just took away from everything they did. And I don't say it's the worst match, but I think it was ill-conceived. And it was ill-conceived because of one thing. The Rock wasn't there. You wouldn't even remember this if The Rock had showed up. And boom, 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 and the people would be standing. But when Travis Scott come out, they thought, oh, this was going to be Rock. No, Travis Scott, most of those people don't even know who he is. So he came out. So they're waiting, and I was waiting too. You were too. We said, well, let's see what they come up with here. And I'm waiting for that huge, huge burst of energy when The Rock steps through the curtain. But guess what? He never stepped through the curtain. So now you're sitting there, and when it's going off, you say, what the? You feel defeated. You feel let down. And that's how you don't want to leave your fans.
It was definitely the biggest letdown of a match. But Brian said that the worst match that I think he's ever seen happened last year. And it was true, because I watched it. Minoru Suzuki versus Butterbean. Now, Butterbean is, 60? Former super heavyweight boxer. He'd been in a wheelchair for years because of his, I guess, gargantuan weight and injuries and whatnot. He was with DDP for a while doing that yoga deal, lost a load of weight, and for some reason, someone thought it'd be a great idea to get him into wrestling, which he's never really done, with a broken leg. So he had like a broken leg or a broken ankle or something like that. He couldn't move. And it was a calamity. They didn't do anything. And then they couldn't punch, they couldn't do anything, they couldn't fall. When
was this?
This was last year. This was like around WrestleMania. It's the same show that Sabu last wrestled on, right?
Okay.
And it was just an absolute catastrophe, that match. And then Brian Alvarez's co-host also said that Dan Severn was the guest referee, and somehow he made it even worse. If you watched it, Dutch, you wouldn't believe your eyes how bad a wrestling match can be until you saw that.
Well, I can. I've seen a lot of them, but did they have a crowd?
At the beginning, they did. I'm surprised they didn't all leave.
Well, I've seen some really, really bad matches.
What's the worst match you've ever seen?
Well, I've told you.
No. I mean, as a pure wrestling match, not any stories going into it or out of it. I mean, as a pure wrestling match, what's the worst one you've ever seen? Considering that you commentated on the Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view.
Well, that has to. If you figure that in there, anything that Yokozuna was in a match, right?
Yeah.
And those matches were horrible. Oh, when Jake the Snake came out, and when he was doing like this, I mean, I didn't have words for what he was doing
as a commentator.
And you know, my partner, I forgot his name.
He's called Randy Rosenblum, and he never did it before or since. He didn't know anything.
He never did anything with wrestling. I didn't know that. So I sat down there and we did the show, and I got up and left. It was a bad show. It really was.
There's another one. Alvarez did not agree on the worst television announcer voting. So apparently Booker T won worst commentator. Brian Alvarez argued he's not even the worst guy on that particular announce team. So on NXT, he said that Vic Joseph, who finished fourth in the voting, is worse than Booker T. I like Booker T as a commentator. It's in the same way that I like Pat McAfee. He's got some enthusiasm, and he's meant to be a color commentator. Right,
they have energy. Mm. And if a guy's just saying words and doesn't know what he's talking about, he's just talking. Who would you say was the best commentator of all time?
Of all time? Color or color. Main announcer? Color.
No, he's doing color.
Jesse, for me. It's Jesse, I mean, the Holy Trinity is Jesse, Lawler, and Heenan. And no one will beat Bobby Heenan. No one will beat those three.
Right. I would go with Bobby Heenan, number one. Then Jesse, I guess, number two. And Lawler, I guess, number three. But now I'm listening to WWE, right? Mm-hmm. It's your head announcer, and the guy with him is not even a color guy. He's not even doing color. He's doing straight commentary, just like his partner is.
Like Corey.
So now you have
Wade
two
Barrett,
guys. Yeah. They're talking about just straight up stuff, which has no entertainment value in it at all. I mean, the color guy is there to draw out little quirks and this and that and the other, and this guy does this, and did you know about this guy when he goes home at night? To me, that keeps the people tuned in, and Lawler was hilarious, but nobody to me beats Bobby Heenan. Nobody.
And the other one that he disagreed with was AEW Collision, because Dynamite, of course, came first. I think it was, the CMLL's show was second, and then AEW Collision came third in the best weekly shows, and then Raw and SmackDown came fourth and fifth. And Brian Alvarez said, I'm sorry, but in no universe is Collision better than Raw and SmackDown. Because Collision, for the most part, is kind of nothing show. It's like Heat, for the most... I mean, they occasionally do something noteworthy on Collision, but for the most part, it's just a throwaway show. But once again, as I keep saying, the Observer Awards are completely useless because they've got the most biased... readership around. and they just vote for what they want to,
and they vote as a block.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And also, Dave Meltzer goes on various podcasts and tells you who to vote for. So it's a complete waste of time. It's like, like back in June, he was telling people that Mystico should win Wrestler of the Year. It's like...
He said who was going to win Wrestler of the Year?
Mystico. The old Sin Cara.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you even saying this? Because these are meant to be impartial awards. But they do so many podcasts where they say, oh, this guy should win and that guy should win, etc. So it's a complete waste of time.
Okay, top 5 in the world. Who did Meltzer say?
I'll find out for you. One sec. Okay, I've got it. Mystico, number 1. Adam Page, number 2. John Moxley, number 3. Saya Kamitani, number 4. And John Cena, number 5. There you go. Here's the thing, is that afterwards he will do podcasts and then he'll congratulate himself for teaching people how to vote correctly. So, Mystico, I knew he'd win. I've been saying he was going to win for ages. I was directing people to vote Mystico the entire year. That's how it is. I'm not even kidding.
Mystico, is he in AEW?
No, CMLL.
Okay.
He has been on AEW a couple of times where Tony Khan barely used him. Which is bizarre, but there you go. He's in his late 40s and he's wrestling more than anybody else.
Mystico?
Yeah, he's wrestling like nearly a match a day at the moment. He's like the most tenured, most seasoned, most active wrestler there is. And he's the biggest star as well. Not saying he's the wrong choice.
He's in CMLL.
Yes.
So he has a schedule through the week. So he's working every day.
Mm-hmm.
You got to love wrestling to go to Mexico. You got to love it.
It's a lot of tourists that go and see it. It's part of like the culture, I guess. It's part of the tourist manifesto.
It is a cultural phenomenon. But I'm saying for the wrestlers, it's not culture. It's getting in those cars and beating that highway to death through Mexico.
And trying not to get robbed.
The heat and everything else.
Right, we will move on if I can find my script. There we go. We've only got a couple more things to talk about, and this is it. Ricky Morton doesn't want Ric Flair's last match. Quote, as cool and exciting as it sounds, I'm going to have to pass on the idea of one more match versus Ric Flair. Rick already had his last match, and it was an honour to be part of that show. Some moments don't need a sequel. They need to be respected, remembered, and celebrated forever. Certain things don't need a sequel, and that is disaster movies. And that's one of them. What do you think?
He's going to have a match.
Do you think?
Oh, I know he will. Because his ego is going to get the best of him. He wants to show that he can still go in there and he's still 28 years old and he can still go. So some guys never grow up and some guys just never accept the truth.
He's claimed he's retired. He's claimed that Charlotte Flair said she wasn't going to let him do it.
Well, daughter probably could stop you from doing that. Because what I thought, if he almost died in the last one, they said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he had did he have a heart attack?
Yeah, so they say, yeah.
Well, it would really, really be sad. He had one last match and he died. But you could say that he died or he wanted to die. He wanted to die in the ring. I've heard that before.
Do you think that would sell any pay-per-views? Because the first retirement match through Conrad did really well. You what?
Guaranteed to die?
No, I'm not saying guaranteed to die, just highly likely. But you can't tell them exactly what's going to happen, can you? You've got to keep some mystery. But do you think a second show 4 years after that horrible performance where he did nearly die, do you think they would? Yeah, do you think they would sell tickets again to it, or would people just like, we've seen this, it was terrible the first time, we can't put ourselves through it?
I would think he would sell about half the tickets. And 4 years has gone by. People have forgotten it now. So I don't know. You can't underestimate a wrestling fan. Sometimes they will pay for crap, knowing when they buy the ticket it's going to be crap. They just want to see it.
When do you think Ricky Morton's going to retire?
I think he's halfway retired now. He still does some shows, but he still moves as well as Mike Jackson. I didn't see Mike Jackson throw a drop kick. Ricky still throws the drop kicks and everything.
Why do certain wrestlers still do it? Is it just purely monetary at this point, or?
Oh yeah, no, they like it. They feel comfortable in the ring. It's where they spent almost half their life. And a lot of guys may have got into it years ago, and then they started making some decent money, or went some places where they made decent money. But what kicked all our asses is when the WWE just took over everything. You either work for WCW or you work for WWE or ELF. And if you couldn't work for them, you were the independents forever.
We'll end on this. Logan Paul versus NFL players. And this is something you have mentioned as of recent as well. So, Sports Illustrated published an interview with Logan Paul on Friday in which he discussed his conversation with Tom Brady and the upcoming flag football tournament, whatever that is. So I was going back and forth with Tom Brady, and we're talking about athleticism and what it takes to be an athlete. And so funny, Tom Brady talking to me about being an athlete. Bro, the worst NFL combine of all time, Paul said, referring to Brady's performance at the 2000 combine. Okay, you won 7 Super Bowls. It's like 7 Super Bowls, 6 Super Bowls, whatever it is. It doesn't matter how many Super Bowls you won. How many United States titles have you won? How many subscribers do you have on YouTube? What's your net worth? If you put any of these WWE superstars on the roster, including the women, on an NFL team, they would do bare minimum all right because these people are athletes. Paul continued, if you plucked 99% of the NFL athletes from the team and put them in a WWE ring, they would shit the bed. They would not be able to do it. It is the hardest thing in the world to do. So, Logan Paul's obviously in character there, but is there any truth to what he's saying?
It is to do it well, it is a finesse sport. And you know who taught me more finesse sport? I mean, amongst the wrestlers than anybody else?
John Laurinaitis.
No, yeah. He just come from the bathroom. Well, I'll tell you, Undertaker and Kane, because they were basketball players. And they tell them, basketball, you can't just knock the guy out of the way. You got to kind of go up and get the ball without fouling. They taught me a lot about the wrestling business. So I think if you take those big NFL players, they would be a period of course, of readjustment. And I bet if you put 100 NFL guys out there, maybe 1 or 2 may make it. Because it is a lot of hard work. You got to love it to even do it. So I don't know. I'm kind of agreeing with Logan Paul there because it is very, very tough, very demanding. So, but the thing about wrestling is you have an instant feedback, instant. If you do something that looks good, they're going to respond to it. If it looks like crap, they're going to crap all over it. So, and that's why the guys, of course, they got to go, say WWE guys, that's why they got to go to NXT down in Orlando because they got to get their reps in. Rep and rep and rep and rep. I don't think they have many house shows during the week, but they need to get those reps. So finally, when the time does come, let's see what they can make of that. So more power to them.
Okay, what about the other part? Like WWE performers could all go into NFL just fine. I think it's Brock Lesnar tried that and it didn't work out.
Wait a minute. WWE performers could go into NFL?
Yeah.
Bullshit. Brother, one time, if you took that guy out there and he got hit, because that's their business, they spear you right in the face, that's it. screw this. I'm out of here. And football's it's an art form too. You got to know how to do it. And you don't do it by going out there. What if you was in the huddle and you said, okay, hey, football is fake too. You know that? You know that huddle they get in? He tells them all what they're going to do.
Oh, the running spots.
Yeah, go over here and I'm going to fake it to you and I'm going to throw it deep to you. Okay, got it? And they go. They already have the play planned. And how many times do they screw that play up? Every other time. So, but
just like wrestling, it seems.
Oh, it is. But nothing beats a great angle with great anticipation, a great build, and a great match. Because that pays off the people that stayed with the promotion, stayed with the angle, and you want them to leave happy, but you want them to leave thinking. And that's where you get them.
How was the Super Bowl? I didn't even realize it had happened until it had already happened. Stinker.
I've watched every Super Bowl ever. I watched Super Bowl I. Still tell you who was in it. The Green Bay Packers and it's either the Oakland or San Diego, I think. I think they had the same. It could have been Kansas City. But the first two. And
it was Kansas City.
So, but it was a big deal. I remember I'm watching it. And I've told you this before. Ernie Ladd, they interviewed Ernie Ladd.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about the garden, baby, the garden. And I said, yeah, but what about Green Bay's offense? I'm going to be in the garden. And the guy kept trying to get him back on the game. He would never get back on the game. And the guy, Ernie's 6'11", and the guy was at the top of his head was coming about right there on Ernie. But Ernie, good guy.
So, yeah, this game this year was terrible.
It wasn't good.
Right, okay, we're going to leave it there then. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on Friday for Ask Dutch Anything, so please send your questions in to questionsfordutch@gmail.com. We're still hugely behind. We will get to them eventually, I assure you, but please keep sending your questions in. We'll get to them in quite a few weeks' time, I think, if you send them in today. But please keep them coming in. So once again, that's this Friday, Ask Dutch Anything. But until then, Dutch and everybody within the sound of my voice, say with a loud, clear voice and put your hand over your heart and say with me, we the people.